I'm Tracey Neale, and this is the nitty-gritty of modern caregiving. Today's special guest is internationally renowned educator and trainer Teepa Snow, whose clever and positive approach trains and empowers caregivers worldwide using strategies and unexpected techniques that help them and the person they're caring for. She has turned caregiving into an art, appearing on local and national newscasts and through her successful talk show, podcast, books, training sessions, and her YouTube channel. We're going to get into all of that in just a moment. But first, we begin today as we always do, with a moment of self-care. I need it as much as you do. And with the help of an amazing group called A Beautiful Chorus, we're going to exhale together. Ready? Okay, here we go.
Breathe it in, let it out, breathe it in, let it go. Breathe it in, let it out, breathe it in, let it go. Breathe.
Now that we are centered and grounded, let's get into the nitty-gritty. In the U.S., it's estimated that some 16 million people care for a loved one with dementia, with no pay and usually with no training. It's a terrible combination that can lead to high stress, a weakened immune system, even an early death. But today's guest has devoted her life to changing that. Let's welcome the transformative Teepa Snow.
Teepa, thank you so much for being here today.
My pleasure.
Let me tell you, when my mother was diagnosed with dementia, I had signed up for a Caregivers boot camp, which I highly suggest because it's absolutely fabulous way to learn a lot quickly. And I saw a number of sessions, speakers, teachers, and I saw Teepa Snow Positive Care. And I thought, okay, I'll go to that one. And before I knew it, we were up and you had us put our hands up to our eyes and we were restricting our vision and restricting our hearing and bumping into each other and talking to strangers and trying to figure things out. And I said, whoa, oh, this is different. This is not your normal training session. So tell me about the positive approach to care and why it's necessary. What's wrong with the traditional way of doing it?
Yeah. Until we can get our heads around the idea, when someone's living with the brain changes of dementia, it's not like the world goes black. It's the world gets restricted. And if we can't get where they are a little bit, it's really hard for us to imagine, why can't she see her drink glass? It's right there. But then when you do this, your brain goes, oh, well, I don't see the drink glass either. And it's like, yeah. So if you have limits in what your brain can take in visually because your brain is being damaged by dementia, then you start to go, oh, all right. So if I say, hey, Mom, here's your milk, it's going to work a whole lot better because me doing this says what to your eyes? Look down. Yeah, you're looking for your milk. Here you go. So when she says, I can't find my milk, it's right there. Ooh, well, that's not a positive interaction. And this is going to get rougher and harder as we ride along. So let's not start off with that sort of tone of voice that says, what are you, stupid, incompetent? It's not a voice you want, but you'll find yourself without support and training sometimes going there because it's like, Mom, how many times did I say we were going to the doctor's tomorrow? Not today. It's not today. Well, you never said that. Yes, you did. Oh, so that idea of building skill before you need it is super important when you're in this role of care partnering with somebody.
There are millions of us who are doing it. We are untrained. We're kind of doing the best we can. And I think what drew me to yours is that it requires the caregiver to make a paradigm shift. We are the ones who have to shift our thinking and our approach. And I love something you said, focus on what's there and what's left, not what's gone.
Yeah. Because once you know, okay, so this is early dementia and this is mid state and this is late state. So let's do a few things in late state with only one visual regard at a time. And then we can start as a caregiver to go, no depth perception. Wow. Okay. So walk around a little bit and notice things that you might decide to pick up and you don't have good balance. All right. So what do you want to do with those things? So now you're in a mode of reducing risk, improving environment before the fall, before the fracture, before you become panicky, because your brain starts to realize, oh, well, if they're changing, that means I'm going to have to change. That's the only way it's going to work easily. And even then it's super hard because old habits are super hard to break.
Super hard to break. And one thing that I think is really helpful that you do, you create these role-playing strategies. I talked about your YouTube channel that is so successful. And it really helps me to kind of walk through things. Like with my mother, one of the things we're battling now is bathing and shampooing the hair. And she's a woman who was put together, always, she would never want to be unclean. But I'm telling you, getting her into the bath, it is very difficult. So give me an idea of the strategies that we can share with caregivers on how to get over that hurdle.
Good. Okay. So that's like a really intense experience. Now, imagine for just a second. So again, I'll go back to, let's sort of dial it back before we try to fix something. Let's understand something a little bit more. So if I were to say to you, okay, so what I'm going to do, Tracey, is have you take off all your clothes and I'm going to stand here with you while you do it. What do you think? First thought.
Yeah. No way.
Yeah. And now I'm going to say, okay, now you're going to get in, I'm going to put water on you. Yeah. So there's lots of those sort of instinctive kind of, so, okay, what could make it better? Well, let's realize that water is clear and I can't actually see it very well as my dementia progresses. I also have trouble understanding that I haven't taken a shower. I always take a shower. I take it first thing in the morning. I've already done that because I have clothes on. And it's like, the reality is these are the clothes from yesterday.
That's what she says. I've already done it.
I've already done it. Oh, you already did it. Oh, I did not realize that. You know what? There is something back here. I don't know. You might have missed it. Let's get a washcloth and let's see if we can at least get that. Here, tell you what, move your shirt because I don't want to get it wet. So what we're doing is getting comfortable with a little bit of clothing removal at a time, because now I realize, okay, so if I'm going to get her going, I may actually have to get here earlier when she's getting out of bed and have that opportunity to go, oh, hey, Mom, looks like you fell asleep last night with your clothes on. Oh, my heavens. Looking at the environment to help me. Tell you what, you probably want to get going. We're going out this morning to church. So which of these outfits are you going to want to wear? Okay. So tell you what, let's go you're going to do a quick wash up or a full out shower? Power and control. Yeah. And then I say, tell you what, let me get your back, because can you easily reach your back? And then I'll say, let's put a towel around you now so you don't get cold. I'm going to heat the room up and I'm going to let her, if she wants, do it at the sink. You know what? Let's do it at the sink, because I can get someone cleaner at the sink cooperating than I can arguing with me about the shower. I hand her a nice warm washcloth. We've got the towel over her shoulders. And I say, here, go ahead and get your pit here. Yeah. And now don't forget the girls. Yep. There you go. Okay. Now over on this side. Perfect. Here, let me give you the rinse rag. There you go. Because what I know in most of these cases, one of the big challenges is sequencing. She can't sequence through it anymore. What should be perfectly logical and reasonable, she can't find the next step of it. And so rather than acknowledge and admit it, the brain goes, you don't need it. You already did it. Because she has millions of times. Yeah.
Sequencing. Oh, that's really smart. Really good. I just love this clever approach. Food is another thing. So I know there are a lot of strategies. We've gone through eating everything to not wanting to eat, to wanting to only eat a big chocolate cake. And in our case, my mother was a very healthy eater. And this is completely opposite of what was. Yeah. And so we have to figure this out, because sweets apparently are
absolutely right. This is dementia on top of who Mom was. Wow, that dementia is really piling on. And it's really making itself seen and felt. Yeah. So glucose becomes my best friend as a person living with dementia because it gives me quick energy, protein, and what if I can't taste glucose as well? Then what do I want?
Sugar.
More glucose, because the bigger, the better, the more and my brain is not recognizing, wow, that's a really dangerous habit anymore. I mean, I just don't get it. I might even say, oh, I hardly eat any dessert. And it's like,
Yeah.
so this is where we start going, okay, is there a way to put protein into the chocolate cake?
Oh,
Is there a way to go with a recipe that uses more, maybe yogurt, maybe something that has a little more protein base? Can I do a chocolate milkshake with whey powder? Can I figure out ways to hide the protein in the preferred sweet item? Let go of the idea that healthy eating is now what we can do. As healthy as I can, given that the only thing I crave is glucose right now.
that's good. I'm absolutely going to try that. That is terrific. All right, let's talk about the I word, the incontinence. So we all have to eventually face it. Give us some strategies, some tools in our toolbox to at least try to do our best in getting to the toilet and doing as much in that bathroom as we possibly can.
Hey, Tracey, I have a question. Could you come look at something for me? I am really not sure about this. I need your eyes. You're really good at this. Come here, let me show you. And we head to the bathroom to look at something that I've set up in there. Tracey, help me look at this. Does this mirror need cleaned? Do I need to clean the mirror off? Tell you what, I'm going to get the cleaner. But as long as you're here, why don't you go ahead and try to use the bathroom and then help me clean this mirror? Because I will tell you, as a rule, very few people who have risk of incontinence want to get up to go somewhere when they're potentially going to be incontinent or have been incontinent. So I'm going to give you a reason to get up that has nothing to do with continence. Nothing. I could use your help. Oh, Tracey, come look at this. Check this out. I want you up and moving without any hint that we're about to go somewhere to this restroom situation. I go, you know what? I want to show you something in the bedroom. And we go to the bedroom and I say, oh, you know what? As long as we're here, it's sort of like when you're driving and there's an exit and you go, I know there's a bathroom here. There's a rest stop here. I should do it while I'm here, even though I don't really need to go. So this idea of getting somebody up and moving for some purpose and then stopping by restroom makes more sense to people because that's what we typically, yes, when we feel an urge, we will go to the bathroom. Unfortunately, for people who are getting to a place of incontinence with dementia, picking up on that cue is super slow. And so what happens is we get beyond the point that we can get there and we're missing cues. So we can build in a greater probability, but we also want to build in, you know what? I've got these new underwear. You're not going to believe them. They are a little bit padded, which is interesting. So I want you to try them out, see what you think of them, because I started trying them every now and then when I was going somewhere that I wasn't sure whether there was a restroom there or not, because, when I laugh, sometimes things don't work like they should. So, I just thought we could try it, see what you think, because I liked it. And what I might even do, honestly, is put one on. It looks like this, and say, this is what mine looks like. See what you think. Try it on, see what you think, because I actually found it really comfortable. If we ever need them, I really do want to know how they feel.
That is really good. Yeah,
So,
that's really good.
it's that idea. We have to, for people I'm older than you, but my mom was very frugal. So one of the tricky parts is sometimes people will, like when someone has had an incontinence episode and you have one of the underwear on that you can just rip down the side and take it off that way. People think of doing that, and it's like, oh,
don't do that.
That's tearing up your underwear. You don't tear up your underwear. What you want to do is, hey, Mom, I have a big favor to ask you. I'm doing a load of laundry. Could you go ahead and switch out so I can throw that in the wash? Now, no, I'm not going to wash. I'm going to throw it away.
Right.
But I've had many, many of my dementias with brain friends try to wash their incontinence briefs because that's what they do. They wash out their underwear. Yeah. It's an old habit. It's what you do when you're in a situation where you might need fresh underwear. You rinse it out, you wash it out. It's like, not a good idea.
Right. Oh, that's good. Okay. Oh, I love this. Is it just me, or do you think the numbers are increasing in dementia? Because more and more people are certainly talking about it. And if the numbers are increasing, I'm wondering if you're seeing the stigma that's often attached to it maybe decreasing. I mean, that's the hope.
That's the hope. Yes and yes. So what happens is the numbers of people actually saying, yeah, this is what's going on for us is going up. What we did was hide everybody. I mean, there was such deep stigma, and in families, it's like, we don't talk about this, like it stays in the house. We don't want it getting out like that. I don't want everybody to know about my husband or my mom or my brother or whatever, or me. We have more people deciding to advocate for themselves and for people they care about. And we have more folks who are caring who step up and go, hello, I think I need some help here because I'm being called to do this. Frankly, this is bigger and more than I thought it was going to be. I also think what we're recognizing is, boy, we're getting more young onset.
Yes.
Which is a whole different, people in their 70s, 60s, 50s, starting to show these symptoms, and talk about a change in life. Boy, the whole family is going to experience this massive shift. People are living longer. So we have old who are developing a special dementia that we've only known about for about 5 years. We thought it was all Alzheimer's, but it turns out, different protein, different symptoms, different progression. So we're asking people without training to take on about 70 to 80% of all care. And if you don't know what you're doing, guess what? It's rough. It's harder than ever. And you feel like there's no way out of this. You're trapped. And until we can do that, I think there will always be stigma. And as soon as we see all these commercials about, like she gets aggressive, it's like, oh, they get aggressive here. And it's like, well, it sort of depends on if you come up behind, put a sweater around her shoulders that she doesn't know is coming, you stand in front of a door and say, you can't leave. And this person has always been the boss of everything. I'll guarantee you it's not going to go well compared to, hey, Mom, I have a sweater for you. Here's the green one. Here's the blue one. Which one? Little different. And you'll notice, or you may not notice, I always stand at an angle. And I stand at an angle
Not blocking
because
the person.
This is confrontational. And this, you always have a way out. I'm not blocking you. I can also show you things right here and get you off my face, or have my face be very present. That's called supportive stance.
Another thing along with standing was how to hold hands. There's a sleight of hand that you showed us in the session. Yeah. I use it all the time. It can help somebody who's wandering to bring them back in, but it also has just a calming, kind of loving effect.
Isn't it really
Talk
amazing?
About that.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah. So when you shake hands, we shake hands, da, 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 and then we let go. But if we want to stay in connection with someone for a variety of reasons, one of the things we can do is when we shake hands, what we can do is slide our hands up. And so I turn my hand so it's palm up and I'm supporting you. And then I can use my left hand and point to things, and we can do, but I can also use my skill fingers. These are skill fingers to manipulate an object. Like, let's say, you're looking at the toothbrush and nothing's happening. What I can do is I can actually take your hand with my hand. So I have to use my own because I don't have anybody else here. But what I can do is I can hold the toothbrush for you, but your hand is involved. So when I start doing this, your brain goes, oh, I know how to do that. And you take over, which is super cool.
Super cool.
It's really fun. And that's, I think, what people are surprised at. And yet you've used your hands your whole life. What you can't figure out is how to get started with something.
Yeah. How do caregivers know when we've hit that point where you're mentally and physically about to burn out? Because, it is tough, as you said. It's all consuming.
Okay, Tracey. So here's the question. Tell me what you still like about your mom.
Her smile, her cheery attitude.
Okay,
her,
you're not
her
there
love
yet.
of life.
I say, tell me what you still like about the person you're caring for, and you pause. And there are two answers of concern. First one is, what is there to like? I hate what's happening. There is nothing okay about this. I lost my mom. I can't, whatever it is. Because in that moment, you're trying to offer this intimate support, 24/7 or whatever it is. And you can't find anything to like about the human being you're trying to support. And the second thing of concern is when I say, tell me what you still like. And you go, well, I love them. And I promised I'd always do it. I come back with, I know you love them. If you didn't love them, you wouldn't do this. That's not what I asked you. I asked what you still like. Because it turns out a human brain has to find in the primitive brain something to like about this interaction. And when that stops happening, relationship is broken and it becomes really dangerous. And you're high risk for something you don't want to happen.
So what do we do to not hit that point?
We need to, well, before that, start going, hey, I need on a daily basis, how many minutes do you need to do what? How do you need to find spiritual well-being? Where and how are you going to take care of your body? Where and how are you going to find social connections that have value for you? Where are you going to find purpose and value in your day? Now, I'm going to tell you, as a caregiver, you have about 5 minutes at a time you can grab. But if you're not grabbing those 5 and holding them tightly for yourself, burnout is coming. You have got to figure out, how do I keep me? How do I keep me in a safe space? And that may mean for a window of time, my mom doesn't get the care I would like her to get because I need space. I've got to have some space. So I'm going to look around and see, who can I bring in here? Yeah. Could it be the person who sings in the choir and bring a hymnal with her and she sing for a half hour? Could it be that I get up with a friend and say, here's what I'm wondering, would you do me a huge favor? Would you go to the grocery store with my mom? Because frankly, I think you'll do better at the grocery store than I do, because she's a little more controlled and I've got the grocery list, kind of thing. So learning to ask and get help and be grateful for the help, but take that time to figure it out for yourself, because otherwise you won't have time. You will not.
Which is very easy to do because you look up and the day is
super
gone.
Easy. Yeah. It's like, what happened to my day? And it's like, you got to program it in. I start people off with, set your alarm 5 times a day for you to take 3 deep cleansing breaths. And I say, I'm going to check with you next week to see whether or not you did this. And they come back and they say, I forgot. And it's like, let's go back to it again. 5 times a day, 3 deep pause. And I want you to take 3 deep cleansing breaths. You've got to start really recognizing you're not even breathing. You're not even breathing well enough to sustain this. You're holding your breath, waiting for the other shoe to drop. Let's pause and let's get this dealt with.
I'm wondering, you always seem to have the answers. and I know you've earned it. I mean, you've been through.
I had 45 years of practice. Yeah, I'm a little bit better than I used to be.
But I'm wondering, is there any challenge that you faced in dealing with training caregivers, or maybe with the patients themselves, and then maybe any on the flip side, any wonderful lessons that they've taught you?
Oh, I've learned some great lessons. Some of them are harder to learn than others. I think one of the most challenging dementias is Lewy body. And Lewy body dementia hides out as a second dementia for many people, and it gets missed way too often. The nighttime wakefulness, the hallucinations, delusional thinking, the falls, the challenges, and I know you, but you're not the person I think. You're an imposter and I can't trust you. I've got paranoia. I mean, that pattern, because it comes and then it goes away and then it comes back. And that, for me, it's one of the hardest situations to help people with, especially when there are third parties involved who are only familiar with Alzheimer's. And they keep saying, well, she knows what she's doing. She called me by name. And it's like, well, she knows your name and she knows who you are. And she thinks you've been sent by the government to cause problems. And it's like, well, why would she think that? Because she has dementia. Well, that doesn't make any sense. You're absolutely right. So I told her it didn't. How did that go? Not well. Okay, well, let's try something different. Change your shirt, change your clothes, and say, go away. When she says, get out, go out. Change something, knock on the door and say, hey, I hear tell you didn't have a good time with the person who was here before. Yes, it's the other one like you that's not you. And don't you start it. And it's like, I hear you. Shouldn't start it. So people living with Lewy body have taught me a lot about being flexible in my sense of reality.
Wow, so interesting. All right. So as we prepare to wrap up here, you want to do a quick fire round? So I'm going to throw you a couple of questions. You just tell me the first
Okay.
thing off your top of your head. Okay. Resources, best resource that you've had that you would want to give to caregivers.
Wow, that's not an easy one. That's hard. I think there's a couple things out there. Rune has done a nice job. If you're not familiar with Rune, we do a lot of those quick 2 minutes, and they've got experts, they got doctors, they got lots of different providers. So I really like their resource for little videos, because they're little video clips. I think Alzheimer's Foundation of America has done a great job of really supporting care. And yes, they do research, but they really support care. And so I think they're a great resource. I think the Lewy Body Association, if you end up with some Lewy body, is a great place to start. And I think if you have frontal temporal dementia, if you're a younger family there, I would say for kids, and you often do have kids involved there, or adolescents or young adults, think about there's a group in Chicago area that serves internationally. Lorenzo's House is what it's called. And it was started by a family that experienced FTD, and they do an amazing job of offering support for families. And I think that's so needed. There's others, but it's a good starter place, maybe.
That's all sometimes you need as a starter place.
Yeah.
All right. If you could change anything about the medical community and how doctors approach a diagnosis of dementia. I know, right? Narrow that down, right?
Where do we start? Well, number one is early identification without labeling and without discarding somebody. I think helping people consistently get a baseline on yourself and then look at yourself over time, because there's so many things it could be that isn't even dementia. But if you don't treat it, you increase the risk that it will end up being dementia, whether it's being hard of hearing or having visual shifts, or whether it's having depression or anxiety. I mean, there's so many places where if they got super curious and they helped us get a baseline and then check it, it would make a difference. If you're going to talk to a person living with dementia and their care partner, please do not leave the person living with out, but also speak to the care person separately and without those ears on, because it's not fair to ask them to say things about the person in front of the person and have to go home and live with them. Please don't do that. And don't tell me when we come in to go home and get our frigging affairs in order. Make a recommendation of what our next step to living life with dementia could and should be for us. It's a disaster in too many situations. Way too late. I mean, the number of times I've had family members, there's something going on. And the doctor says, well, she's 82. And it's like, yeah, but this wasn't how she was 2 years ago. This is very different. What do you want me to do? It's like, I want you to work with me. I want us to come together in this. I want us to give good supportive care, not what I'm hearing.
Right. All right, let's talk about you one last time here. What do you do to take care of yourself, to restore yourself? Because I'm thinking you take on a lot of heavy burdens from a lot of different people. So what does Teepa do?
Teepa does yoga routinely, both vinyasa. I do heavy work yoga. I also do yoga with weights. I do walking, running, jogging. I do meditation. I make sure that I have time every day where I let myself decompress. I love music, so singing along when people can't hear me mostly. Finding things that are more using my body and my hands, crafts, those kind of things. I enjoy that kind of thing. And then jigsaw puzzles. But that's just for fun. That's not for brain health. That's just because I love jigsaw puzzles.
You got to have some fun. All right. Anything else that you want us to know? Do we should know?
Go out and sing or dance a little bit anyway. Find a moment of joy in a hard day. Find what music lifts you up and do something with it, because we need to change our brains if we're caregiving. And whatever it takes, do it to take care of you so you can do this another day.
Teepa Snow, thank you so much.
Tracey,
wonderful
thank you.
Advice. Hopefully people will go to your YouTube channel and your podcast. You have so much out there. Thank you for your time.
Welcome.
I hope you enjoyed my conversation with caregiving trainer Teepa Snow. Here are today's top takeaways. Set an alarm and take 5-minute breaks 3 times a day to just breathe. Try to understand the problems you're facing before you try to solve them. keeping in mind that dementia damages the brain and often affects vision and hearing. And build or expand your caregiving skills before you need them so you're ready for life's challenges and changes. That does it for this episode. Take care, everyone. Remember to exercise, eat right, and seek joyful moments. Caregiving family, let's stay connected. You are not alone. Special thanks to A Beautiful Chorus. You can find them at beautifulchorus.com. Candy Marketing Store and Neale for graphics. Visit our YouTube channel and don't forget to subscribe.